The beer distributors have been one of the decisions that we made, looking back on it, it was probably one of the best decisions we made is taking the non-conventional approach where everyone said, oh, you have to go with the spirits distributor. They know the space. They have the best relationships with liquor stores. And we thought, well, beer distributors understand the market. They understand how to move cans. They know how to do it most efficiently. Their reps are grinders. They're out there. They're merchandising. They're building relationships with bartenders. They understand volume. And we know that that's the use case for our product. Like at the end of the day, we're not a handle or a liter of vodka. We're a ready to drink. It's essentially a beer replacement. So we
Right.
felt like we would fit in best with those guys. And it's been one of the best decisions we've made.
Yeah, 100%. Welcome to Thursdays at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. My name is Jessie Ott, the host of this podcast, which is all about beverage innovation. I talk with innovation pioneers from agriculture to glass. Thank you for listening, and be sure to subscribe to be notified of all new episodes. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Thursdays. I am Jessie Ott, and I have another exciting guest at the beginning of the year here in 2026. Rob Minucci, CEO and co-founder of TalkHouse Encore. Welcome, Rob.
Happy to be here. I'm excited.
Yep, me and my big old, what do you call these things? Headphones, earmuffs, whatever you call them. I feel ridiculous, but it's best for echo and all the things. So
Functional.
It's functional. That's right. Anyway, how are you doing today?
Doing well. Yeah, it's a new year. It's exciting. We're hitting the ground running, so I can't complain.
Nice. And where are you calling from?
I'm in Brooklyn.
Okay. My aunt lived there. I lived there for about a couple of weeks.
Where in Brooklyn?
Near York? Is it York Street? No.
I think there's York Street, maybe in downtown Brooklyn. I'm like up north in Williamsburg.
Oh, you're in Williamsburg. Okay. Yeah, I can't remember exactly anymore, but it was by the big park, right by the big park.
Like Prospect Park. Okay, so it's
Prospect Park.
Cool. Like middle Brooklyn. Very cool.
Yeah. Are you from Brooklyn originally?
No, I'm from Connecticut, and I have been here for about 15 years. So I've seen it change.
Yeah,
to say the least.
Yeah. I lived there in 2003, 2005.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, I lied because I was there for 9/11. I moved out there that January. I was there for 9/11, and I stayed like 3 years.
I think living in New York is an interesting place, and I think everyone should do it. You get thrown into the thick of it, and you're around a lot of people who are hustlers and go-getters and doing really interesting things, and I love it. It's my type of place.
Yeah, I remember with my girlfriends, we would, just meet at a random bar, and you never know who you're going to sit by, have a conversation with.
Well,
figuring out the accents and where everybody's from.
Yeah, and that is the interesting thing about New York, right? Which is, you don't really go over to people's apartments that much. You kind of go out and you meet at bars and restaurants, which is, I think, unique to like a lot of other cities, Yeah,
that's true. You can't fit in each other's apartment.
No, you can't. So like up until COVID, New York was like a bar culture. You would, there'd be happy hours and you would go out, and COVID changed it a little bit, but I always enjoyed that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of like not quite there yet, huh?
It's different. And also, I'm admittedly getting a little older. So, I'm not out until 2 o'clock in the morning on a Thursday. Yeah, I still love the city.
Yeah. I remember the extremely fun times that we had were, okay, wait, get up on Sunday, get your laundry done. Let's meet for brunch. And then we just hit a different neighborhood and bars, a snack, a drink. Yep. You'd be hungover for like 4 days, but it was so worth it because you had so much fun.
Oh, of course. Listen, that's the beauty of, I guess, alcohol, consuming in moderation, but, it brings people together.
that wasn't moderation. I was a kid. I was in my 20s.
I'm trying to be as PC as I can, but, it brings people together. That's the
It does
beauty of
bring people together.
no, it does.
That's a
It
huge
really does.
and I think that's a huge message in today's world, especially how tough it is out there because there's just so many choices. And that's kind of I think how you guys have built yours, and that's through community and storytelling and how important that is to a community and to get support from that community. And we'll get into it, but that's I think kind of how you position the business with the beer distributors because they really do a great job at that.
The beer distributors, I think, have been one of the decisions that we made. Looking back on it, it was probably one of the best decisions we made. Is taking the, I guess, the non-conventional approach, where everyone said, "Oh, you have to go with the spirits distributor. They know the space. They have the best relationships with liquor stores." And we thought, well, beer distributors understand the market. They understand how to move cans. They know how to do it most efficiently. Their reps are grinders. They're out there. They're merchandising. They're building relationships with bartenders. They understand volume, and we know that that's the use case for our product. Like at the end of the day, we're not a handle or a liter of vodka. We're a ready to drink. It's essentially a beer replacement. So we
Right.
felt like we would fit in best with those guys, and it's been one of the best decisions we've made.
Yeah, 100%. So how did you get into the beverage business?
So I started in the food business, and I was the
Okay.
director of operations, or like the fourth employee at a company called Hungry Root. I worked there for a
Okay.
little while, and then I became the chief operating officer of another direct to consumer food company called Time Food that made vegetable based meals in a jar. We would ship them to you, which was really interesting.
That is interesting. So it's like a direct to consumer?
It was direct to consumer, yes.
Interesting.
Yeah, and it was one of those
Was that the
companies where
days before e-commerce?
it was during the height, or I guess maybe a little after the peak of like food e-commerce. But it
Okay.
was really interesting because when the company started, they had like a commissary kitchen that they were making everything. It was basically like this art project, and the unit economics were atrocious. So like I had to basically come in, and we turned it, we went from like our own facility to outsource manufacturing. That kind of flipped the unit economics to actually make sense. And then, from there, basically figured out how to get the shipping done properly. And ultimately, I think the company ran out of money. Listen,
It
it's the food
happens.
business. It happens. It's a capital intensive business. But
Yeah.
from there, I went into food and beverage consulting. So food and beverage companies would hire me to help them set up their operations, supply chain, distribution, sales, finance. And I did that for, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 years, where I was kind of like, you know, the guy that would either, if you had an idea, figured out how to bring it to market, or even if you had a company that was doing 50, 60 million in revenue and you needed a new product line, or just, figure out how to optimize your cost of goods, I would, you know, people would call me to do that, which I really
That's
enjoyed that.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
You
saw
get
what worked,
exposed to
and I
so
saw,
many things.
well, that's the thing, right? You see what works, and you see what doesn't work, and you
Yep.
learn from the things that work, and you learn from the things that don't work. Arguably, you learn a little bit more from the things that don't work. And I I really
Right.
enjoyed it. It was fun. I loved consulting. I loved taking on projects that were super interesting to me. Yeah, that's kind of where up until then. That's basically how I met Ruby. She hired me as a consultant, and like 3 weeks into working with her, she was like, "I think we work really well together. You complement me." She's more branding, marketing. I'm at the operations, supply chain, finance, sales experience, and we kind of co-founded this.
Yeah. Well, I interviewed Ruby, as you know,
Yeah,
last year and posted her podcast. So she's an amazing individual
she is.
and she's well spoken. I feel bad some of the crap she's had to deal with some of these distributors. She
Yeah,
mentioned something about being called something 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 inappropriate, and it's just really frustrating.
sure.
But I'm sure she's strong. She's got
She
this.
is.
She'll win. She's winning right now.
She is. Ruby is a very, very unique person. I have
Yeah.
met a lot of people, and she's quite honestly one of the few people that I've met that is a genuine, authentic person. She
Yeah.
really is. And she just cares about everyone that's around her. And it's a pleasure to work with someone like that.
It's not very often where I meet someone where I want to help them so much and
Yeah.
mentor and so I was trying to reach out a little bit and help her, but I didn't. I felt kind of silly, so I backed off. But
Yeah.
yeah, she's certainly somebody that you just wanna go, "Okay, let's do this together." You know what I mean? Like, you just want her to be successful so bad and do what you can to help her, you know?
She convinced me to join the team and start this with her.
She's
She's that
good.
good.
Yeah, I think I remember on the podcast she said somebody told her that if you're gonna create a company like this, you have to talk to um, Rob Minucci, and she did.
She's very generous with her compliments, especially towards me. I I'm just doing my job.
Yeah, well, that's why you're here.
Yeah,
'Cause I'm
exactly.
so curious into, what you guys are doing and your strategies and your metrics and analytics and whatnot. So
Yeah.
let's, back up just a little bit here. So you were a consultant and then you talked to Ruby. And
Yep.
so what was that conversation like? Had she started the brand or was she just
She had an
concepting at
idea.
this point? Okay, she had
She
an
had an
idea.
idea. And I said, okay, great. Well, then I can introduce you to the formulator and we could put together a financial model and we can start to, figure out how to build the framework so you can go out and raise some pre-seed angel, money to start the business.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Uh,
did you guys formulate it kinda together, or did she have just, like, a basic concept?
I think, as you know, Ruby has celiac, so she, gluten free. Instead of doing a beer, which I think the bar like always wanted to do a beer, she obviously can't drink gluten. So,
Right.
the idea was let's, figure out some other alcohol drink. And, we decided, or she decided to do, a hard seltzer. I mean, the category is obviously exploding. And, why not come out with like your dive bar classics? But I think, the formulator I introduced her to get this going did a lot of work in like the traditional beverage space. Like you'll notice there are a lot of RTDs out there and it's, I think there's nothing wrong with this, but it's like, vodka, sparkling water and like natural flavors. It's not super complicated to do that. You get flavoring and you get vodka. They're good. Great. You have a drink. We took a little bit of a different approach. We kind of developed this like you would like a natural beverage because we believe that at the end of the day, like flavor and product quality are what drives the category. The way that I guess why we look at it is like, there was beer and then all of a sudden, White Claw came out and it was like the beer alternative. And, some people said it tastes better than beer if you're not a beer drinker. And then, truly, and then all of a sudden High Noon came out and that was like the spirits version and it used real juice, better ingredients. And then now you have like your surf sides and your sun cruisers, more flavor, better for you, better quality. And we think that that's the way the industry is moving. So we design these drinks to be very flavor forward, use real ingredients, real juice. Like when we pour out our product, it pours the color of the juice that's in it. And we think that that's kind of what differentiates us from a lot of the competition.
And what about the story, then the branding? Do you
I
wanna
think that
talk a
that's
little bit about that?
Yeah, I think that that's the most unique part about us. This is not a brand that's made in a boardroom. This is a legendary dive bar live music venue from the Hamptons. It's been around for over 40 years. We've got 70 members of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame play on this little stage. And I mean, like last year, Metallica played there. Now, how many other, bars and like small music venues can say that? At the end of the day, I think the customers, I'll go back to what I said, their flavor is really important, product quality, but they're also looking for authentic brands. They're looking for something they can connect with. And that's the Talk House allows for that. Yes. So I think that's another extremely unique part about our brand is that, most beverages, it's a bunch of people in a boardroom coming up with an idea, trying to find a target market. And I think what's really unique about us is we have this history and this legacy of this like 40-year-old institution in the Hamptons. It's a place for everyone, but they get some really iconic acts. I think this year or last year when Metallica played in front of 250 people, which was pretty ridiculous to see.
Unbelievable.
My ears were ringing for 2 days.
Yeah, I bet.
How many places have, had Metallica play? I mean,
Right.
it's a national stadium act. So it's just awesome, just really unique, authentic brand. And we were able to take that and bring it to the masses. Very similar to what like a Rayo's pasta sauce did or like a Tate's cookies did.
Yeah.
That's kind of the angle we're taking there. And the
Okay.
authenticity creates a real connection with the customer, the consumer.
Yeah, it's really interesting the acts that have come through there. Ruby even
Yeah.
talked about when she was a kid, Sting came through, so she had to wear her nicest dress. And I asked her about Howard and Howard Stern, of course.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Yeah, he comes in and because he loves rock and roll. I mean, he loves rock and roll. I mean, he helped a lot of bands get started, including Bon Jovi.
Sure.
So I mean, I just thought it was really cool that he goes there. And then I asked her about a celebrity endorsement, and she's like, "Yeah, nobody their age drinks anymore," which
Yeah.
I think is, I mean, which is fine because it's harder as you get older to drink.
Yeah, for sure. No, it's funny because I'm actually a big Howard fan, and I'm listening, and all of a sudden, he's like, "Oh, I was at the Stephen Talk House, and I saw Metallica," and like, he would go on for 30 minutes about that. I was like, "Oh my god, like that's our place." I was at that concert. That was pretty incredible.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
cool. I
yeah,
was
yeah.
I was wondering if he was there. I would
No,
assume
oh
he
yeah,
would be.
he was, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Really, yeah, really.
Have you met him?
No,
No.
no, I'd like to leave people alone. What do they want to meet
Yeah,
me
of
for?
course. Yeah. Well, I didn't know. Sometimes it could happen. You
Yeah,
just never know
yeah,
how social situations can
yeah.
come to play. Yeah.
Understood.
Yeah, you're not gonna go up to him and go, "Hey, I'm CEO and founder," or "What's up?"
No, 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 no. They're there to see a show. Let them enjoy the show,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
pretty much it.
That's cool. Did Beth go?
Yeah, she was there.
Awesome. Very cool.
Yeah, Paul McCartney was there too.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's so
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah, it was crazy to see Paul McCartney. That was wild.
Yeah. That's really wild. But that's just how famous this place is and how famous it's been for so long,
Hmm.
you know?
I mean, it
For
really is.
Metallica to
It's
go,
like,
"Yeah, I'll play that gig."
yeah, yeah. And also that's a testament to Ruby and her family. Like they've
Mhm.
really cultivated some amazing relationships, not only with the locals out there, but with the town and with the partner Sirius XM.
Yeah, that's really cool. I didn't realize they were
Yeah,
partners with SiriusXM. That's amazing.
yeah. They usually do one show there a year, which is it's incredible.
Yeah, that's super cool. I didn't realize that at the time. I wasn't familiar with that venue until I spoke with Ruby, and I do agree with you. I think it's a spectacular story, and it's one that everybody loves music, everybody loves bars, and the whole cocktail piece to it just fits in perfectly. So I do agree. I think that's a real strength for you guys.
Yeah, yeah. It is, and it's
And we're
certainly a
delayed.
strength and a differentiator as well
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah,
in a very crowded
100%.
market.
So, as a VP of operations, as your past has been, and Ruby obviously reached out to you because of this skill set, how did you formulate the business and the structure so that you can build it to scale? Like what are some of the key decisions that you made to get there?
Yeah, I think a lot of everything that I did was based around like systems, processes, and procedures to make things that were very easily repeatable and with as the least amount of complexity and human intervention as possible. That's
You sound just
been
like
like
my wife.
my
That's exactly what she does. Get rid of paper, make it easy, simple, process oriented, and repeat.
100%. And if there's one thing I've learned about operations in the food and beverage space is like what can go wrong will go wrong. So take the human aspect out of it and build something that's repeatable. And then also be prepared for something to go wrong. I mean, there's never really a production run that goes by without, there being some sort of mishap, hiccup, an ingredient not arriving on time. So you have to basically plan for the possible mistakes or errors and just, pad your time, set reasonable expectations. But, just it's a lot of it comes down to systems, processes, and procedures for us to
Yeah.
scale properly. And I really wouldn't have been able to do that if I, didn't have the experience of working with very small beverage companies and very large beverage companies. So you see what works in the large ones, and then you cut out a lot of the red tape and you kind of implement those in the smaller ones.
And Ruby mentioned something about a CRM that you created that has been really
Yeah.
beneficial. And if I remember correctly, it's pretty transparent with the distributor.
Yeah. It's
Is
well,
that, am I saying that right?
yes. Yeah. No, it is. So, when we have our own sales team, that helps sell our product. So we have like 3 reps in New York, 2 in New Jersey, 1 in Connecticut, 2 in Massachusetts. And we think it's really important to like understand what's going on the ground, be able to, have direct interaction with as many accounts as we can to help cultivate the brand, build a relationship, get better product placement, get our POS up, like all of just the meat and potatoes, the brand building basics. Like we think that that's extremely important. So, in order to do that, we need to have our own reps, or at least that's the way that we've built this. And it's in theory a very easy concept, but in practice, it's these are they're humans and they're out there and they're trying to and they're doing their best and they're trying to put together routes and they're trying to make sure they're going to see the right accounts. And listen, Ruby and I both did it for 3 years. We were out there grinding, going from store to store, and like kind of going back to my operations experience, is like systems, processes, and procedures. So went out there, looked for a CRM system that, I thought could help us like streamline a lot of this work. And like some of them were really great at like GPS tracking and recording, but the other ones didn't have the ability to like take photos and to schedule good follow-ups or to put scorecards on accounts or even to pull all that data and then get dashboards to make actual insights. So I finally got fed up and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to get Salesforce and I'm going to hire someone to build this out the way that I want it done.
The way that you want it done, yeah.
The way that I want it done or the way I think it should be done. And I will say that that was probably one of the best decisions we ever made, because now we have full accountability for all of our reps. And by the way, they don't have to put a lot in. Everything is done by like check boxes or just like saying yes, no, a little note. We have photos of all of our product on the shelf, what it looks like against our competition. We can pull pricing data
That's
from that.
great.
It's incredible. And like we like we go into an account and we see that we're low on blood orange, we can set a reminder, hey, go back in 2 weeks, the account's low on blood orange, and we go in there and they're sold out.
That's super cool.
We have basically insight into everything through this CRM platform, and we grade every single one of our accounts, on a scale of 0 to 100, and we have a target that our guys have to hit. And if, we have an on-premise account, like, they have to say, oh, the product's behind the bar, it's on the menu. We've talked to the bartender. We've done a tasting with the bartender. So it basically creates like a checklist, like a pilot will go through before they, start a plane to make sure everything's done properly. And we've seen like the productivity increase has been absolutely ridiculous compared to what we were doing compared to now. I'm very proud of this because you talked about accountability with the distributors. So our guys will go out, they'll be like, okay, here's a 10 case order. Then, the traditional way it works is you call the distributor up and they put in that order. Well, sometimes they're busy, sometimes they forget, but our system tracks compared to the distributor system. So if like the delivery date's Wednesday and nothing comes in, we know we have open orders, and then we can go back and follow up with the distributor to get that order in if they forgot, or we can send them
Wow.
weekly updates of here are all the accounts that are missing product. Here are the ones that want to order with you guys. Here are the ones that ordered. Here are the ones that need product. So it gives them it makes it actionable for them to be able to go out and help sell for us. And it's something that all of our distributors are kind of shocked that we have this capability, and it's, it holds each of us accountable, and it's worked really well. I'm really happy with it. I'm really happy with it.
So do the reps have an app then?
Yeah,
Were they?
so it's all built on the Salesforce platform.
Okay.
But like what I didn't realize was like how customizable. This isn't a pitch for Salesforce by any means,
Right.
but it's very customizable. So like I can go in and I can be like, okay, this account just got something delivered. Here's your dashboard for all your accounts that just got product delivered for the first time. You have to go in there within 3 days and make sure it's set up. And I can set up all these systems and automations to make sure that they're actually doing the most important things first. Another thing we do is like, once we get a first order, well, it's important for us to get that second order and that third order. So like every account that has a first order, then it goes into a list of like, hey, you got to get your second orders. You got to get your third orders. Here's the accounts you haven't been to in over 30 days. Here are your accounts that are A accounts, high priority accounts. Go to these. And then it all comes up on a map so they can build their routes super efficiently. And it'll tell them, all right, if you want to see all these accounts, throw it in here. And then it uses AI to say, okay, here's the most efficient route for you to go and do your day and
Wow.
come home. Yeah, it's I'll say it again. I'm very proud of this because it
You could make that into a whole thing because nobody has.
they don't. And I've tried a lot of CRMs and they just never were they never got, they never were able to give me the data that I was looking for, or really to be able to hold, the reps accountable, or to actually make the reps more efficient in the field, because at the end of the day, like, nobody wants to spend hours of their week planning their routes and trying to find places and using pen and paper. Like, I think it's super important to use, we have technology. Let's use it and let's make the
Mhm.
workday as enjoyable as possible and as efficient as possible. And let's focus on the things that matter the most, not, just the minutia, I guess, or the fluff.
Yeah, that is super interesting. When I was at St. Michel, we created territories for on-premise in, like, call it 25 cities. It's all gone now. But the
Yeah.
concept of it was called precision selling.
Yeah.
And so what we did is we looked at accounts on different ways, like, okay, what are the chain accounts? What are the hotel accounts?
Yep.
What are the high volume accounts? What are the prestige accounts?
Yep.
And so we were able to really dial in to 80 to 100 accounts in a single market and just focus there because
Yes.
that's going to get your biggest bang for your buck.
100%. And I think something that I'm very proud of our team doing is the ability to focus. Cause I think sometimes you get like what I call like shiny object syndrome, where you want to
Yep.
do everything and be everywhere and get the product everywhere. But like, I really try and get the team to focus on like what matters most. And we have, meetings every couple weeks as a team. We say, hey, these are the three things we're trying to accomplish. Everything else doesn't matter. These are the three things I want you guys to do. And we use the Salesforce tool to be able to focus them into that. So, because, at the end of the day, like, sometimes it takes 5 touches to close an account. That's a lot of, that's a lot of
It's a
time.
lot.
And
Yeah.
isn't it better to close an account that's going to do 20 cases a week as opposed to one that's going to do 2 cases a week? Let's make sure we're going after the accounts that like service who our customer is. Over time we'll expand from there, but like we want to be really, really granular when it comes to, accounts we're going to, who's our customer, why they're going to buy the product, why it makes sense, and then go, and then build out from there. So yeah, I'm proud of the focus because I
Yeah.
think that,
100%.
sometimes
That's
you want to
cool.
be, yeah, sometimes everyone's like, oh, I'm doing, 30,000 cases. Well, you're in like, 10 markets. So you're doing 30,000 cases.
Right.
I'd rather be doing 20,000 cases in 2 markets. You know what I'm saying? And I think the
No, and
focus
that's
helps you
how
with
you
that.
build it one community at a time.
Yeah.
That's longevity. And
Yes.
that's you're paying for what you can afford, you're growing
Yep.
organically. This isn't an overnight business, as we all know. That's
No.
why barely anybody that knows the business creates a brand. They're all people that are outside of the industry. It's because it's so hard. It is really hard.
You you have to be a certain type of person to
And age, maybe. As you get older, the harder it is.
yeah, a certain type of person. I think age plays into it, but I think you have to have like a relentless obsession with
Yes.
what you're doing. You really
Yes.
do. And I think if you talk to some of our sales guys, they might say I have a bit of a relentless obsession, but
You
I
can't
think you have to.
teach that.
No, you can't. You have to love it too. Like you have to love the pain.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and people that are out there, they do love it because a lot of those people that they're talking to are their friends. They've established relationships over time, whether they're at A account or B account or wherever they
Yeah.
move, you know,
Well,
and
that's the biggest
they're not
thing.
desk people.
No, no. And that's the biggest thing that was one of the biggest eye openers to me, which is how much the bev out business is a relationships business. You could have an account. I could go into an account personally and the buyer will be like, yeah, we're not interested. But then I can go to the sales rep and be like, hey, I really want to get into this account. And then all of a sudden we get 5 cases of order. You're like, oh yeah, I've been
Yeah.
friends with that guy for 30 years. He'll take 5 cases. So it's a relationships business. And
Yeah.
you really have to treat the distributors with respect. You have to treat the distributor reps with respect. And you can't ask too much of them. I think it's a nice balance between you basically have one saying is you have to work together. If you think you're going to come down with a heavy hand on a distributor at our size, I think you're delusional.
Right. Yeah,
And you
for
have to, pr-
sure.
and you have to prove to them that it works.
So how Oh, yeah.
No, I was gonna
H
gonna say we've basically spent all of 2025 proving to our new distributors that TalkHouse is a brand that they want to invest in by showing them that we can get into an accounts. And then once we get into an account, we get the reorders, which is something that we're really, really proud of, is our ability to get reorders.
And I believe when we talked before the podcast, you mentioned that you've figured out a formula for success on what that looks like on reorders.
Yeah, I mean, it's to me, it's like the fundamentals, right? So we get into the account, we try and get the account to take, 3 or more flavors, 5 plus cases. Then what we do is we come in, we'll do a tasting. Taste is extremely important. But not only do we do a tasting, we try to get the best placement possible in a fridge. We want to get fridge stickers up. We want to get shelf talkers up. We want to build a relationship with the owner, of whether it be a bar or a liquor store, get them to try the product, get them to be a proponent or a brand believer, and we replicate that over and over and over again. It's just like the fundamental brick building 101. I think who is it? Like Gallo came up with like 10 steps to a sales call. I think that's something that they coined,
Yeah, that sounds
but
about right. Because I know they had good training.
it's that Gallo mentality. And, we kind of made it our own.
Yeah, that's super cool. So how does the reps now is this is the system is really for you and your team, right? The
Yes.
distributor doesn't use the team, but you show the distributor reps the reporting and the
Yeah.
tools and the evidence on
Yes.
volume and reorders and whatnot.
They have, I mean, they have their own, their own
Systems, yeah.
systems to figure out the volume, the reorders, all that stuff. What we're trying to really do is one, show them, hey, we're out there. Because sometimes they're like, oh, are your reps really out there? I'm like, yeah, here they are. Here's the GPS location of where they went. Here's the photos. And they're like, really? Okay. All right. So now we're gaining trust with them. So if we go into a store and we say, hey, we're sold out of lime, and they're like, are you sure you're sold out? Here's the photo. Sold out of lime. Oh, okay. So now everything is kind of about trust with the distributors. I think they've been burned by a
Yeah.
lot of brands coming into this space, whether it be RTD or whatever, and they make a lot of promises, but they don't follow through with the promises. So what we try to do is make sure they know that, like, when TalkHouse comes and we're working with TalkHouse, we're going to put someone in the market. We're going to be an advocate for our brand, but we're going to go out there, we're going to hustle, and we're going to make your life easier. And we go into an account, they're sold out. Every week we send reports to the distributor. Here, this account sold out. Here are the notes. This account sold out. Here are the notes. And then some of them have even taken it a step further where, like, now they're reporting back to us on a weekly basis what's happening at each of those accounts. So it's like a
That's great.
full feedback loop.
Wow.
Shout out to Craft, Massachusetts and Kyle over
That
there.
is pretty cool.
He's a great guy.
Yeah, well, that's what a partner does, right?
Mhm.
Like that's when you know you're true partners and something together. They're giving you the time, you're giving them the respect and you're
Yeah.
working together as partners.
Yep.
It's not like you're coming to them and saying, "Hey, you're not doing your job." You're just saying, "Hey, they sold out. Let's get this refilled. Let's I just," and then you have reminders that help. Like that's
Yeah.
just a super, super smart way to build relationships with distributors.
100%. And like I said, I couldn't find any system to make this where it was like,
There's no way.
and that's why we had to build it. Because we couldn't find anything
Yeah.
that made this like very simple, repeatable, where it's a low lift from the rep standpoint. Because, at the end of the day, no one wants to, the thing that sucks about a CRM system, if you're like a traditional like sales guy, is like entering in the data. But like we've made it so it's very simple. So anyone can use it too.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
really cool. And when you talk about account lists and by markets, what kind of accounts are your targets
Well,
for Talk
our
House?
product, yeah. So like our customers between the age of 21 to 35, they're kind of like on their second job. They have a little bit more disposable income and they're looking for something that's better for them, better quality, better taste. So like maybe they've graduated from like the traditional seltzer, like malt seltzer, and they're looking for something maybe a little bit better tasting. So we try and target areas where those consumers are. We also, depending on the season, target different regions based on like, um, what people are doing. For example, in the springtime and summertime, we're like on the shore. We're hitting up like, places that, serve seafood, where you go and you have a lobster roll and a couple beers, boating, golf. We do really well on golf courses. So
Oh
it's like,
yeah, that makes
yeah. So
sense.
where people are vacationing, where they're open to drinking, where they're open to, where they're out, where they're socializing, meeting people. We want to meet the consumer or the customer where they're drinking, consuming alcohol. So that's what we try
So
and
it
do.
it sounds to me like you guys have a pretty big focus on premise. What percentage of your sales are on premise?
40% of our business.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it is.
I
I'm
would
really,
say that's really high
yeah,
for
yep, it is. It's really high for an RTD and we're really proud of it. And we
yeah.
use on premise to drive off premise business.
Okay. Smart.
And I was going to say, the thing about our on premise business is like, we don't want to be everywhere for everyone. Like, we want to work with accounts that will like give us the time of day, allow us to come in, make the product, put it on like a special, get it so we can get it in front of the customers, make, the accounts where they'll have it behind the bar and not just keep it in the basement. We tell them like, we're going to be your best partner. Just allow us to get it in front of the customer. And then we're going to build from there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And I believe when we talked, I just assumed that all RTDs were going after convenience stores, and that's not true. That's not something that you guys are really going after, which I also found very intriguing.
We can't either because we're spirits. So and that's another thing too. So like,
Okay. You're too high
yeah,
in alcohol?
no, it's based on the type of alcohol. So like, we're spirits, we're vodka and tequila. So they can't really be sold in most convenience stores, which is
Well, maybe
really,
in other states they can, but I don't
yeah.
that's
Oh,
a
so,
good point.
you know what? So I apologize. You make a great point. Because we're only in Connecticut, New York, New Jersey, and Massachusetts at the moment, there are really no convenience stores
That are an
that
option.
sell our, like, I guess there's like a couple 7-Elevens, but it's not, it's because of the alcohol type, we can't really sell into those. And we actually really don't have a ton of chain business as well, because most of the markets we operate in don't
Are
allow
independents.
chains over like
Yeah.
6 or 7 stores.
Yeah.
So it's hand-to-hand combat.
Yeah. You're building out in the hardest market.
That's what we realized very quickly, is we are in arguably the hardest market because we cannot snap our fingers and get into 50 accounts. It is literally hand to hand selling,
Yep.
store to store, bar to bar. That's just the way it is. And that's why we
Yeah.
really have to be dialed when it comes to like our systems of focus, because you can spin your wheels here.
So, in terms of your market penetration in these states, are you guys looking to grow in other states this year?
We want to open up Rhode Island to kind of round out
Okay.
the Northeast, and then
Okay.
that is it for 2026. 2027, we'd like to add maybe 2 more states, but
Okay.
that's really it. The idea is to go very deep in the markets that we're
Mhm.
in until we feel comfortable in expanding.
Yeah. Well, if you ever want to go overseas and explore that, let me know. One of my companies, we export. We're going to the
Oh,
duty
amazing.
free show this year.
Oh, very cool. I will keep that in mind.
Yeah, whenever you're ready, yeah, keep us in mind.
Thank
We've
you.
got some business going on in the UK, and just it's fun. We're just having
Yeah,
fun.
you have to. You have to in this business.
Yeah.
You have to have fun.
Yeah, you have to. It's fun waking up every day going, "Oh, I love my job. I love what I do."
It's you gotta make it part of your life. That's what I've realized. My wife might not like that, but, that's what I
It's
do.
what we do. That's funny. So, can you talk about a major challenge and maybe it's the CRM you want to talk about, but like a major challenge that you guys have overcome that you want to kind of share on how you handled it and maybe some advice behind that?
Yeah, let me think about that. A major challenge. I think that the biggest challenge for us has been maybe on the distribution side of things. Because when we first started the business, we went out and we talked to some of the big guys, and essentially they wouldn't work with us. And they're like, "Hey, you're too small. Yeah, you have no experience." And we're like, "Okay." So we built the business with a like a clearinghouse. Like, have you heard of MHW?
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah. So we
Yeah.
built our business with them in New York and we grinded it out from 0 to 300 accounts. Then we went out and we were able to like get distributors interested in us. And then we had to get distributors interested in us in other states. Now, I'm telling you, like when you don't have like the backing of like a large strategic, it's challenging to get into states.
Yeah. It really is.
Like, us getting into Northern New Jersey, that was multiple emails with no response, multiple phone calls. I remember the guy basically finally took the phone call with me to tell me that he didn't want to work with us. And I convinced him to take a meeting with me and that if the meeting didn't go well, I would never talk with him or bother him ever again. And this is not even a joke. I mean, he reluctantly accepted, and I walked out of that meeting, and 30 minutes later, he called me, and we had a deal. So, like,
Wow.
was a grind. It's a grind, and I'll
Yeah.
tell you, like, we had to make some very big promises, and they were like, "Well, I hope you live up to everything, all the expectations you've set." And I think I can confidently say that all the distributors we work with have will say whatever TalkHouse says they're going to do, they do. So I'm very proud of that because, we say we're going to do this, 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 and this, and watch, we're going to have a conversation in 6 months and we'll have executed on all this. And I don't think we've made a promise we haven't lived up to.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah. The distributors, they're tough.
They
I
are.
get
Well, and they
why.
have to be. Yeah.
Well, they've been burned.
Yeah.
So like, this is like who is this Rob guy off the street coming in here selling another canned cocktail? I don't blame them. But, when you come in and you set the right expectations and you tell them that you're going to support and you already have the team lined up to do so, you kind of you make an offer they can't refuse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's and it's kind of like a rinse and repeat once I mean, now that you've got the velocity behind the brand and the
Yeah.
success in the stores, you've got a story to tell, you know?
We do.
And you can back that up now, instead of just getting
It,
started, you've got evidence
yeah.
and
Listen, it
fact-based data.
100%. And it took time to get here. These businesses are not, successes overnight. And sometimes you have to like set the proper expectations and make sure people know that, these things take time. I think a great example of that is Beatbox. They were just acquired by Anheuser-Busch, but like, it took them
Shack?
years. Yeah. But it took
Yeah,
years for them to even get to like 3 million in revenue.
yeah,
Years.
yeah,
And by the way, what a great success story. And like, kudos to
huge.
them because this is not easy. And they created a great brand, a great product, and they were able to bring it to the market. And people responded to it.
Yeah,
Um, and yeah, it
and
takes
they
time.
were They were one of the first to go to the beer distributors because they're
Yep.
wine based and
Yep.
they're convenience based.
Yep.
And so I think that was a big move in the industry and it worked. And
Yeah.
I think that's partially why the beer distributors are so open. I mean, I know beer's struggling a little bit, but I think that was sort of that first partnership that really worked out.
Yeah. 100%. I have a lot of respect for beer distributors. It's old school. It's the ground and pound. These are the guys that are going in, they're making sure the cold boxes are set up. They take pride in their little section of the cold box. They get posters up. I think one of the coolest things was I was in Northern New Jersey and I was checking in on accounts. I try to go to each market regularly. And I walked into one of our accounts and I turned a corner and I saw a giant, like 3 foot by 10 foot talk house poster on above the cooler. And I was like, what is this? And it's just like, oh my God. And then so I called our rep and I was like, Chris, what is going on here? He goes, oh yeah, that's what we do, man. We're brand builders. Like we're going to we're going to represent you guys. We're going to put the brand up. And
That's awesome.
that's what I love about those guys. It's like, it's making sure the product is in front of the customer. It's so important because I mean, you walk down the RTD aisle, there's hundreds of them. How are you going to stand out?
Mhm.
How is your partner going to help you stand out?
Yeah.
It's those little things that are like help with the incremental, growth.
Yeah. No, I think standing out is definitely a difficult task because of all the, I wouldn't call it noise, but competition, and it's
Yep.
busy and it's colorful
Yep.
and lots of things. And
Hmm.
for me as a consumer, when I see like walk through Total Wine, I can't even stop to really focus too long because there's but when you like I think you have when you have 3 packs across,
Yeah.
that's noise you can absorb.
Yes.
But if you just have this is different every 4 to 8 inches, it's so much noise your brain can't really absorb it. And it's a challenge.
100%. So there's nothing that gets me frustrated more than a one case placement. It infuriates me because it just our ability to succeed is like cut in half because that one case is not going to get great placement. 9 times out of 10, it's not going to get great placement. It's not going to be in the cold box. Maybe it was a favor that the buyer did. Yeah, there's nothing that gets me more frustrated than that. And like, we can't invest. Like we love to invest in the locations that support us. We'll do a tasting. Our tasting metrics are, you want to talk, I remember we started this conversation by talking about data. Like our conversion rate on tastings is 50%. And we did
Oh,
over
wow,
400
that's
tastings last
awesome.
year. Yeah.
That's wonderful. I
Yeah.
know that that is so important to invest in. That's how Stella Rosa, that's how they did it.
Yeah.
I believe in the interview that I heard him on, the Business of Drinks, with, Erica Ducey. She interviewed the CEO of and he said that they do 3,000 sampling demos a year. I
Yeah.
mean, hands down, that's how they built their brand because liquid to lips is so important.
It's so important. And yes, you have to have, marketing and yes, you have to have social presence. But at the end of the day, we believe that being at the right end of the customer journey where it's like you walk into a store, hey, do you want to try an RTD? All right, why not? And oh, wow, this is really good. And, we over and over and over again, we hear that. And we think that's what's helped us really succeed because you do a couple tastings in an account and you turn that account from a, 2 case a month account to a 20
Right.
case a month account. And it takes time. And I know again, when we started the conversation, we talked about like my philosophy, like systems, processes, like that CRM system I have links up to our tasting system. So we submit all our tastings through there. We manage our tastings through there. We get all the feedback from our tastings into there. And then we can run numbers. We can figure out what day of the week is the best for tasting. What time is the best for tastings? Like we
That's
try to
amazing.
optimize all of that. Yeah.
Heck yeah. 100%. That's
Yeah.
unbelievable. You could, easily sell this system if you wanted to start another business, but I'm sure you
Yeah.
wanna
It's like,
keep it competitive to yourself, keep the
I mean,
competitors out.
you know, it's, like, the tools are there. People can build it,
Yeah,
but yeah, no selling it as of right now. We like to keep it to ourselves.
yeah, I would. I say that because 'cause it's been a huge conversation as part of my business and some others that are hiring people to work in other markets. They want more visibility into that, and so, that's just not something that I do
Yeah.
right now, but, there's just so many CRM systems out there, but a lot of them they're expensive.
They're expensive and they put you in a box.
Yeah,
And, there's nothing better. Here's a great example. One of my reps, he's like, I need a way to track where I drop samples. Like I put it in the notes, but then I forget. I'm like, okay, let me just go in here. Let me add a box that says samples dropped and then like put a layer on our map that shows samples dropped and boom. Within 10 minutes, I can have every single account you drop samples at. All you have to do is click a box, shows where you've dropped all your samples, and I can put it in a dashboard that shows all the accounts you've dropped samples at.
that's awesome.
And then, what we can do now is we can track, okay, what's the likelihood of an account? How many samples do we have to drop to get a closed account? You know what I'm saying? Like, you can start to play around with those.
Yeah. No, that's unbelievably smart and really incredible that you've been able to work through that and been able to invest, into that program and you found the right partner. I had no idea that the Salesforce platform had that much agility.
Neither did I. And then I got put in touch with a great implementation specialist.
That makes all the difference.
Basically, I learned that it's a sandbox. You can basically do whatever you want. And so I just, like I said, I built it our way.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Yeah.
Well, moving kind of back onto to you on some personal growth that you've
Sure.
had, is there any mentors or resources that you'd like to share with the audience?
Mentors. That's a good question. Like how's like personal or just, personal,
Any,
professional, like, you
whatever,
know,
there's professional groups that help
oh,
people, within their careers. There's former bosses or friends or,
you know,
even
I won't give any names, but there have been people throughout my career that I feel that have taken me under their wing and that have like imparted a lot of knowledge on me. I remember back when I was at Hungry Root, there were these two guys that started a food company and sold it. And then I got introduced to them and they basically taught me everything, every single thing I needed to know about co-manufacturing, how to put together contracts, how to negotiate contracts, just how to be a professional when it came to business. Like those guys were incredible. I surprisingly have had lawyers that have really helped me out. And I'll tell you too, I've had even some of the distributors that I've worked with.
nice.
They have kind of coached me and helped me along the way. I kind of think of myself as a bit of a sponge. So I'll take
Right.
if you have a thought
Same.
on something, I'll take it. And I kind of like, use all these little bits and pieces of information to kind of form my own path. And trust me, I've made a lot of mistakes
We all
in
have.
my day. Yeah.
We all have.
And I'm still, still learning. But I think it's been,
Nice. Yeah,
yeah,
that's
I wouldn't,
that's a fun part.
yeah. And like I said, it hasn't been like one thing. It's just throughout my career, I just have, if you have knowledge and you're a subject matter expert, I will, I'll listen to anything you have to say.
Nice. Me too. I'm a sponge
Yeah.
too. I like to learn for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you'd like to mention about Talk House or experience? Maybe you could just talk about a little bit of pricing, the packs that they come in.
Yeah. 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 I mean, that's a great question. So when we looked at the RTD hard seltzer market, we noticed that like everyone was kind of at like the 9.99 per 4 pack price point, and we knew that some thought was like, okay, well, we have to be where everyone else is, and we have to be a cheap product so that we can get in as many hands as possible. When we were going through this analysis, we said, well, we could do that, and we can be one of another 100, 200 I-99 4 packs, but like we know we have a product that we think it tastes better. It has more flavor. It's better quality. I think we should price it that way. Also, the ingredients are more expensive when you use fresh ingredients, real ingredients. It costs money. So we put those two things together and we said, all right, well, we're gonna have to charge a little bit more for this to have a healthy margin. And we priced our product maybe 20% more than our direct competitors, and we have seen really no issue with that at all. Our customer is willing to pay just a little bit more for the better flavor, better quality. And you can taste the difference. Yeah, we didn't want to be where everyone else is. Another great
Right.
example is our variety pack. We could have done an all vodka variety pack. We could have done an all tequila variety pack, but we decided, well, there's already all vodka variety packs and there's already all tequila variety packs. So how are we going to compete in a very crowded market? Well, let's come up with a mixed variety pack where it's vodka and tequila. And I will tell you, we opened up like 80 accounts in 2 months in northern New Jersey just selling that concept.
Wow.
Stores couldn't believe that we had both of the flavors inside of one variety pack. I think there might be a couple other brands that
That's
do it, but like
cool.
not a ton. And we leaned into that and it worked really well for us. So, we don't want to follow we don't want to follow the crowd. We want to kind of blaze our own path, kind of figure out where we fit in the market because it's a lot easier to sell something that's different, unique than it is to be just another vodka seltzer. And to that point, we have obviously tequila flavors, like I said, and those have been really, really helpful for us, especially when it comes to on premise too.
That's awesome. That's really
Yeah.
awesome. What about e-commerce and online? Do you ship online?
We do sell, yeah, we sell online. We get orders. They come in. We don't put any real like marketing dollars towards the e-commerce side of the business. We have to charge a little bit more because of the unit economics, and like also we can't take advantage of the ability to save on margin shipping D2C because we have to work within the 3-tiered system. So while if you're like I don't know, toothpaste company, you don't have to sell the distributors. You can save that margin and use that towards shipping. You're good to go. For us, we still have to sell to a distributor who then sells to a retailer who then fulfills the order. So we can't really take advantage of that. It's one of those things where it's there, we have it, people buy it, but for us, you know, we really want to focus. And what we really want to focus on is getting into accounts and getting the product to move in those accounts. And
Nice.
I think the unit economics around just shipping cans in general is extremely challenging.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's,
Yeah. Versus already having distribution. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So, but
Yeah. Yeah.
it's a
That
great
makes sense.
question. It's a great question.
Yeah. Well, I know that type of e-commerce business really exploded over COVID,
It did.
as to be expected. Yeah.
Yeah, it did. I mean, when when you can't, when no one wants to leave their house, you have it
You
shipped
got to
to
do
you.
something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. No, I think, we could have gone down that path, but at the end of the day, it was about opening doors and getting the product to move in those doors. Laser focus on that. And that just was a bit of we had a lot of conversations. Should we put money into e-commerce? Should we put money into driving our D2C business? And it just didn't fit the goals and objectives of the business. Perhaps in the future, maybe when we want to open up a new market, we can go D2C first and drum up some business. But right now, let's just focus on what we know works and put all the resources there. It's hard enough as it is.
Yeah. I guess you could use a clearinghouse to do that, right? Would they get if you had a clearinghouse, will they deliver, or would not just Uber or somebody have to come pick it up? Or it has to go through a retailer, you said?
No, it has to go through a retailer. It's
Okay.
wine, you can you can ship wine directly from the producer in the US. Spirits, you can't. So we have to
Okay.
sell it to our distributor. Then they have to sell, again, they have to sell it to a liquor store. And
Yes.
then that liquor store has to fulfill the order to, I think, 40 states we can sell it to, 38, 40 states.
Okay.
Um, but we're, the
Interesting.
only money we're making is off of making the margin from us to the distributor.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what is your website?
Talk
What
Encore.
talkencore.com. Okay, so you can check out the brand there.
Yeah.
This has been so much fun. I really enjoyed the CRM component and how you built that out. That's something to be super proud of, because you're the only one in the industry and beyond probably that's been able to create something that special and
Well,
unique.
thank you. And I don't know. I do get a kick out of it because it is really nice to be able to dig into that data. It
Yeah,
really is. And it's also
makes a
really nice to
difference.
see what your product looks like on every single shelf that you're in. There's a lot of accountability there. Our reps know that the shelves need to look good. The product needs to be in the best placement. Yeah, it's great. It's nice. It's a nice to have for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. Well, would you like to play a little game
Let's do
to
it.
end our conversation? It's
I
fun.
love games.
I
Let's do
just
it. Let's do it. Mhm.
It's kind of rapid fire game. And
Good.
I ask you 3 questions, and you answer the first thing that comes to mind.
Done.
Ready?
Yes.
I always ask this first question. If you were a cocktail, which one would you be?
Oh God, I would be our TalkHouse Blood Orange Tequila Soda.
There you go. You knew it.
It's my
That's
favorite.
good.
It's my favorite one.
Do
Or
you
actually,
have a
and by the way, hold on. I should say, if I wasn't a TalkHouse drink, I would be a Negroni. I do love Negronis.
That
So
seems to be a favorite on here. I
they're
interviewed
delicious.
Tony Abu Ghanem. Do you know him?
No.
The mixologist. He's out in Vegas now, but I had him on the podcast, and he's a Negroni guy. He's connected to Campari. And so I reached out to him today and Simon Ford to see if they would do a little segment with me and create mix a couple of cocktails for my 50th birthday this year. So I'm hoping I can get it together. That would be really fun. And of course we're gonna make a Negroni, you know?
they're they're great, and it's funny. My father-in-law actually makes a really good Negroni, and I think he uses a Bruto. Have you heard of a Bruto? It's like
Uh-uh.
it's a aperitif, and I think he uses that instead of the Campari, but it's
Uh,
delicious. So
oh,
shout out
sounds
to
good.
him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Go. All right. Rapid fire. Sorry, I derailed us.
Rapid fire. That's okay. Happens all the time. Second question is, do you have a favorite movie or a favorite line from a movie?
I mean, this is so cliche, but I am a big fan of Godfather Part One.
There you go. There you go.
It's a great movie. It's a great movie.
It's a classic for sure.
It is.
Is there any lines out of that movie that you refer to or think about?
I don't. No, I just love the movie. It's just so
The
good.
movie. Yeah. Awesome. Well, what is your favorite type of food?
I am. You like cuisine or just food?
Anything.
I love burgers.
I do too.
I love burgers. I also love Italian food. I love sushi. I don't know. Burgers are like my new thing. So I've been eating a lot of those. Have to watch out.
Yeah, I kind of have been too. When you're on vacation or traveling, it just seems like the easiest thing. You get lots of protein for the
Hey, you do. And I love a good smash burger. It's delicious.
Yeah, I gotta get into that. I gotta start making those.
I
I've
think it's the
never
best way
made
to
them
do it.
before.
It's the best way to do it.
Yeah?
You get the most amount of flavor because of like that caramelization in the
Oh
patty.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. My brother's we call him Chef Jay because he loves to cook and smoke and all the things, and I've
Yeah.
get a lot of recipes. His rib recipe is the best, and
Sounds good.
he makes smash burgers with his kids, and that's one of
Yeah.
their favorite things to do when they come home. So yeah, and
They're
it's a big
delicious.
deal. I see it. Yeah, I see it on advertisements everywhere. Smash burger, this and that. So I definitely
Yeah.
got to get into the game.
I highly recommend it.
Now I want a burger.
Yeah, me too. It's almost 5 o'clock here.
I know. We have a Stonewood Tavern here, and they actually have a gluten-free bun, which I'm not celiac,
Oh,
but I eat gluten-free.
yeah.
But it's not a smash burger, but they have this bourbon bacon jelly sauce something, and it's the best burger I've ever had,
Oh, that sounds
hands down. Well,
delicious.
one
Ooh,
of the best. Yeah.
I'm getting very hungry right now.
I know. I
You're killing
know.
me.
It smells so good. Anyway, Robert, this has been awesome.
Thank you.
And
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
so happy you were able to take some time out and sit down with me and kind of talk about the business and your success and all that you guys are doing. I love the processes that you're going through and how you've set the company up because you can easily scale with the tools that you have.
Mhm. No, I
Easily
listen,
scale.
I appreciate everything you're saying. We have a lot more to do. We have a long ways to go, but I do really believe that like we've built a great foundation to grow the business on. It's not like we can, we get to a certain point and we have to break everything back, break everything down and rebuild it. I think we built it smart. And yeah, a lot more to go, a lot more to learn. But I'm just thank you for having me here and to be able to share our story and hopefully help some people out.
Yeah, for sure. For sure, for sure. Well, I know that you're busy and I'll let you get back to it.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
You bet. Bye.
Bye bye.
Produced by Fedora J Productions.